Hello Exploration Nation. I'm out today at the site of a former nuclear aircraft laboratory where the Air Force was trying to develop a nuclear powered airplane which would have revolutionized aviation, especially for military purposes. The site was built in the early 1950s and closed in the early 70s, and today I had to wait for a little bit to start recording this video. Got way out here in the middle of nowhere, and this is way out in the middle of nowhere where this is. And of all things, there was a large tent set up, a sound system with music blaring that could be heard several miles away. And I turned on the music recognition app on my phone to see if it was enough to where it would potentially cause me copyright problems on YouTube, and it readily identified it 100 yards away. So I had a choice of either waiting it out or narrating later, and narrating a video after the fact is not as easy as it sounds. So I chose to wait. There hasn't been anything going on for probably about 20 minutes, so maybe it's over with and I can do this. But I came up here. I'd like to show this place to you. There's 2 or 3 places that I'm going to try to find in addition to it that's part of this complex. This is a very large complex, and of course most of it now is overgrown and probably impossible to find. But what I'm standing on is the foundation of one of the buildings. They're used as parking areas. Camping is allowed here, and hiking and biking and so on. So they use the old slabs where the buildings were as parking areas. And so I think that's going to be all that's left of a lot of it, but there's 2 or 3 other things that I'd like to look into that I saw might still be standing, so we'll check those out in a little while. But first is the main point of interest, and it's where the nuclear reactor was located. So glad you're coming along with me. Let's go check it out. Okay, this is the concrete slab I was telling you about, and it goes all the way back through here. Probably these trees have grown up through it, more than likely. There's steps right over there, and it goes back through here, probably under all this leaves and undergrowth. You can see more of the concrete up here. It's covered in mud right here. So there is no telling how large, and that is slick as ice. That was good. No telling how large this one building was. This just goes on back here. Even though this looks like dirt, it still feels like I'm walking on concrete through it. So it may have gone on back through there. This looks like maybe one of the larger buildings that was on the site. And it may have been a second building. May not have been part of that one. Instead of continuing on, this may have been a second building, and I just walked in between and didn't realize it. Here's another building foundation. I've read a lot of accounts of people who come up here, and some of them are pretty interesting. Now, it's all purely anecdotal. No photographs or video to back up a lot of these accounts, so you know, you got to take it for what it's worth. And as we go along, I'll get into some of it. Okay, here's the fence. What we're coming up on is the hot cell building. And this is where what was called a naked reactor was housed. And it was called that because it had no shielding, which is amazing to me. And so anytime they were running tests and lit it, they threw the switch and ran. There's supposed to be a series of underground tunnels here and I've seen varying accounts of it where there's a whole lot of this installation that was underground. Others don't seem to really think so, but what I do know is that there were underground tunnels where the workers would go to whenever they started the reactor up to run tests. And the type of tests they were doing was radiating military equipment, such as probably motors, the metals used in the aircraft and other equipment, to see what effects the radiation would have on it. Again, they were trying to develop a nuclear-powered aircraft, so they were trying to see what effects the radiation had on it. And every account that I've ever seen was that every time they started it, the trees out here would lose their leaves, which that was some serious radiation right there. At the time, this was way out, and it's still way out. There is development, of course, not a real long way from here, but at the time there was nothing for miles and miles and miles. Nobody knew it was here, and it's been called another Area 51. It was a top secret place that nobody, the public didn't know it was here. And in one of the articles I read, a man who worked for the company that contracted for the same company that contracted with the Air Force for their aircraft said that such a place didn't exist when his son asked him about this place. Well, here it is. And I guess that goes back to the old military's need-to-know basis. Now here's another building. I don't know what that is. I think it possibly be a tunnel entrance, but all the tunnel entrances have been covered over, sealed over, because people have been getting in them, and every time it's dug out, then somebody comes and fills it in. There's one account that I saw where somebody came up here and saw the one of the tunnel entrances had been dug out, and the very next day a bulldozer was in here covering it up, which leads me to something else that I had read, is that there are cameras in here, and I haven't seen any. I don't see any, not in the trees or anything, but with today's technology, they could be concealed anywhere. If they're here, and there was one instance where a guy and his son came and brought his vintage Geiger counter up here, and they weren't here very long before a ranger spoke to them, called them by name, knew when they arrived, and knew where they were from. Now, on the outset, that would seem a little creepy and spooky, but I think it's easily explainable. If that account is true, again, this is anecdotal, no video record, no nothing like that, then what it probably was, if there are cameras out here, then they were seen, and when the ranger arrived to see what they were doing here, then a simple registration check on the license plate would give them the name of the vehicle's owner and where they're from. So that much I think is explainable. Now, why they were so ticky about people coming around here, I don't know. Because this has been a camping area, hiking area, basically a public area for a long time now. So I don't know what the deal is with coming and checking people like that. I don't know. And like I said, we even have we had the concert going here. So that I don't understand. And as you can see, there's no way in, although it looks like people may have brought bolt cutters in. You can see where these sections of fence are new, but they come out here and fixed it. So they do check this regularly. Okay, there's something right here. Now, that's interesting. I don't know what that could be. Very close to the ground. I don't know if that was a building or a loading ramp leading to something at one time. I don't know. Alright, here's a smaller building right here. And I think that's moss on it. I first thought graffiti, are you kidding? But would not be surprising. Let me see if I can get a better look doing this right here. Looking up over the fence, I can't see what I'm doing. So hopefully it gets a decent shot of this. No doors or anything that I can see. There's a door on that building. It's probably facing the hot cell building. And other than this building and 2 or 3 other things that I want to go find, that other people that have come out and explored this have not, but I'm going to go look at them to try to find them and let you guys see it. There's not a lot of information available. Much of information about this place is still classified. Even over almost 50 years later. The smell of those campfires sure does smell good. I tell you, if you don't bring anything but hot dogs, it's awesome. Alright, now here's another building. It looks like maybe storage, since it got little ramps every few feet. This is a support for something. And this is an access for something. Almost looks like a manhole cover, but I doubt that's what that was. And of course, it's been filled in. All it could be, they would have had to have some type of sewage out here, so who knows, could be. Now this is a loading ramp into something. I know I'm overloaded with knowledge here, and it looks like they came and covered some graffiti up at some point. So it does look like they could keep a pretty good eye on the place. I don't know what this little cut could possibly have been used for. But whatever was loaded in here was not on a large vehicle at all. And who knows, this could have been a place where they kept a few vehicles, drove them in here and drove them inside, or maybe loaded them inside, out of sight. This was built in the early 50s, and so the Cold War was just really getting going good, and so there is a possibility that this was to load materials up out of sight. They could pull a vehicle inside here, load up, close it up, and leave without any possibility of any type of aerial detection. And you may ask, well, you know, what, satellites didn't have that good a resolution back then, and so on. And enemy countries wouldn't be flying airplanes overhead. Don't kid yourself. Before Pearl Harbor, there was an agent of the Japanese government that posed as a tourist and chartered an airplane, flew over Pearl Harbor and photographed the whole thing, and then turned it over to their military intelligence before the attack. So wouldn't be that hard to fly overhead here and try to see what was going on. So they did take a lot of extra precautions against things like that. And I'm all for better safe than sorry, so I don't fault them at all for that. And before I show you what I was looking for, very nice. Always nice to be out. And this old bridge. Now it looks like over the years, at some point, it got narrowed. It was originally wider than what it is now. And I guess it holds. The traffic goes through here, but oh boy. No telling how old that bridge is. My guess is it was built when the complex was built. More than likely. Get another shot of it right here. And make my way down through here. Now, this is something that and would you believe it? There's a car coming. That figures. Let him check out that bridge first. I was looking for this right here. Now this was the old pump house, and this is something that other people who come to check out the complex don't come to. So this is an American Explorer exclusive right here. go down here and see what we have. Now the pump house drew water out of the river. My guess is it was to cool the reactor when it was running. There's a doorway in there. Not going to try that. Down there, we can see all the way down. There's a ladder going down in there. And I don't know what all was on top of this. Let's take a look here. And another deep hole. This took a little doing to find. And most people, even driving by on this bridge, don't have any idea that this is over here or what it is. And since that goes down into the ground, I would say that the waterway or pipeline, whatever they used, is underground, and the complex is back that way. It's just amazing how big this place was. And that's the only pumping station that I'm aware of. It's the only one I could find. And there's one more place, actually two more, I'm going to try to find. It's getting late in the day, and I don't know if there's anything there or not, but I'm going to try to find them real quick and show you. So hopefully we can see more of it. It's several miles that way, so it's going to take me a while to get there. So I will see y'all back very shortly. Well, we're kind of out of luck on the last two locations of the complex. This is the road going up to it, and it is closed. Now, I could walk it and get there, and that wouldn't be a problem normally, but it is getting late in the afternoon, so I don't think I would have time to get up there and do the rest of the video justice and make it back. Maybe sometime I can come up here and try to locate it and see if there's anything actually there. So in the meantime, I really appreciate y'all coming along, and thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share, and I will see you next time.